If you need any Xbox or PlayStation codes or any cheap PC games, use the referral link in the description. It will take you over to g2a.com. They already have a discount on most of their goods, and if you use the code CHES at checkout, you can get yourself an extra 3% off as well. Hey guys, how's it going? Chez back again, and welcome to something a little bit different. I did this last year and everybody seemed to enjoy it, and I was actually asked in the comments section of a handful of videos over the past week or so that you guys would like me to do it again. So as you can tell by the title, we're going to be having a look at the transfer budgets that are available for the clubs in the bigger leagues in Europe. We'll start with the Barclays Premier League. If you enjoy this video, then obviously make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments section whether you'd like to see this done for La Liga, for Serie A, for the Bundesliga, etc. And I will do just that. If you don't want to see it, then this will be the only one and I won't do it again. But if you do want to see it, then let me know. So we'll start off with Arsenal. There's actually some big budgets involved this year on FIFA. As you can see, Arsenal start off with a £50 million budget. Now, I'm not really too sure how realistic that is, because obviously Arsenal have a lot of money to spend, so maybe it is extremely realistic. The only thing is that Arsene Wenger just has seen fit in the past couple of years to not really spend it. He's spent big on Ozil, then he spent big on Sanchez, but this year he's not really done anything other than sign Petr Cech. So there's definitely a lot of work that he's doing to that squad, and with £50 million you can do exactly that sort of work yourself. So I mean, at least Arsene Wenger was kind enough to let you do all of the legwork in the transfer window. Aston Villa have actually got a decent transfer budget. £21 million is available. They've already made a few signings, obviously, in this, or the window that has just gone, although it will be the window that you're going into with career mode, with obviously Micah Richards and Joleon Lescott, etc. coming in. But £21 million for a side that finished 17th last year is a lot of money to spend. So that could be actually quite an exciting career mode to take up if you wanted to. Bournemouth obviously been promoted last year after winning the Championship, and were able to come up thanks to Callum Wilson's goals last year, of course. And they've got an £11.5 million budget, which it seems like all of the budgets have just been inflated slightly for FIFA 16. I guess to kind of take into account that the market this year, just in general, in world football, has taken a big rise, and you are going to need to spend more money to end up being able to pick up players. So maybe that's reflected in the fact that these budgets are slightly higher than perhaps we've seen in previous FIFAs. At Chelsea, the transfer budget is £61 million. Obviously, if you've... I'll just back out slightly. If you've previously had FIFA 15 and use career mode in there, you will get the access to this 60% increase to transfer budget, which is what I used for my Chelsea series, and why we have like 90 million to spend in that particular series. But you start off at Chelsea with 61 if you don't have the availability or choose not to use that 60% budget boost, which is obviously a lot of money. Crystal Palace have brought in a couple of good players as well, notably Yohan Cabaye and Bakary Sakho, and their transfer budget is £17 million. So again, all clubs, it appears, are going to have some money to be able to do something with. Everton, stereotypically not the most flush of clubs. They tend not to spend a lot of money and not to have a lot available. They did spend out on Lukaku a couple of years ago for, was it 26 million or 28 million, I think they bought him from Chelsea for, wasn't it? But they tend to not really have too much money to spend in the transfer window, and that's reflected again, £18 million, which is enough to make a couple of things happen, but not really too much to make that bigger splash in the transfer window with, I guess not necessarily the demand of Everton fans to be in Europe, but that's the dream, isn't it, for Everton to get back to the sort of side they were in in the 80s when they were winning titles, etc. But Leicester City managed to stay up by the skin of their teeth last season thanks to a really good, actually, last-minute run, and they've started this season on fire as well. £19.5 million is their budget, and they can definitely do some work here. You might see, thanks to their kind of spotlight at the minute, you might see a few Leicester City career modes going around on YouTube this year, especially thanks to the form of Riyad Mahrez as well. Liverpool have got a decent budget at £39.5 million. They've spent a lot already this window, as you can see, with Firmino, Benteke and Milner in that starting lineup, as well as Joe Gomez there at left-back as well. So there's already a handful of starting players in the lineup that are new signings as it is, and you're going to have £40 million to spend as well to try and extend that amount of spending at Liverpool. Brendan Rodgers has not been shy when it comes to splashing the cash. He just so far hasn't really been able to deliver the results, other than that one season where they came second thanks to the goals of Luis Suarez and Sturridge. And Suarez has obviously gone on to newer things, and Sturridge has effectively been injured for the past 18 months. So there's definitely a lot of work to be done at Liverpool, and you've got a decent squad now to do work with, thanks to the new signings and the amount of money that you might need to do some signings of your own. Another team that have, well, effectively just done whatever they want regardless of financial fair play ratings is Manchester City. Obviously you've got Kevin De Bruyne that's come in for 50 odd million pounds. You've got Raheem Sterling that's come in for 50 odd million pounds. Nicholas Otamendi that's come in for close to 30. And you've still got 72 million to spend if you start a save at Manchester City. If anybody does a career mode at Man City and they don't win the BPL every single season that they're there, then you don't deserve to be able to play as Manchester City, because that's a ridiculous squad, and with the money you've got to build it even further, you should just be winning every single competition you're in. There's no excuses. Manchester United have spent a lot of money. In real life, it's not necessarily clicked just yet, although obviously they did get a good result against Liverpool recently, but like we've said, Liverpool haven't necessarily been performing to the best of their abilities, and you do have close to £60 million to spend at Man United as well. So Champions League football at Manchester United obviously as well, and obviously the additions of Schneiderlin and Schweinsteiger and Depay, etc., and 60-odd million to spend as well. Definitely should be winning stuff at Man United if you choose to do one there. Newcastle have brought in Jorginho Wijnaldum and obviously Florian Thauvin and Mitrovic as well in this window, and obviously Mbemba, as you can see there in the starting lineup actually, and you're going to have £25 million to spend at Newcastle as well. That's a decent amount of money. You really should be able to get Newcastle up into the top half with that sort of money, and you would be expected to do so, I would have thought. Norwich came up via the playoffs last year and they've got 16 million to spend. They haven't necessarily improved too much. You can see Matt Jarvis there in the starting lineup. He's new to the team from West Ham obviously, and there are a couple of other players in the team, in the squad, that are new, but they haven't really strengthened that much. But 16 million should be enough for you to be able to bring in the sort of calibre of player that can help you stay up in the BPL. Southampton have got 23 million, which is indifferent considering the amount of money they've received from transfer fees the past couple of years, with obviously big sales. But still, they've got a very good squad, an effective squad as well, with the pace of Mane and Jay Rodriguez, etc., and the skill of Tadic and the finishing ability of Graziano Pella. So 23 million, you should be able to finish in the top half with Southampton with the squad they've got and that money to spend. So perhaps you could even push a Europa League spot with Southampton. Who knows? 32.5 million is the money that you have at Tottenham. They've obviously brought in Heung-min Son. You can see him there in the starting lineup. And Toby Alderweireld, the Belgian centre-back. Dele Alli there as well. Obviously, Harry Kane will be the main man for scoring goals. But they have let Soldado go, so you might want to pick up another striker if you start a career mode at Tottenham. They finished 5th last year, of course, so you will have Europa League football at Tottenham. And 30 odd million, that's enough, I think, to do some work in the transfer window, as is the 21.5 million that you'll get at Stoke. Had their highest ever Barclays Premier League finish last year with a 9th placed finish. So there's definitely enough talent there to build on, and perhaps you might want to build on the sort of work and play the sort of football that Mark Hughes has instilled there, where they're actually playing some very good football. Obviously, you've got Xherdan Shaqiri there as well. Marco Van Ginkel was on loan from Chelsea. There is some very good players in that squad, and you could do some decent work with Stoke. Sunderland are, in real life, awful, and they stayed up by the skin of their teeth last year. They were particularly poor, and they've started this season in the same vein, unfortunately for them. They made a few signings, but none of them really have had that much of an impact. Jan and Villa is probably the biggest and most notable name that they've brought in, and he did score a very good free kick the other week, but they're still not playing very well at all. £20 million is, you're going to need to spend that if you want to do anything with Sunderland in career mode this year. Swansea made a lot of money from the Boney sale, but they have brought in Andre Ayew and a couple of others, so you might perhaps have wanted a little bit more to spend at Swansea, but they play good football. They finished 8th last year on, noticeably, a shoestring budget, so you might be able to raise some extra funds from selling on a player or two, but you might not want to, considering there's not that much depth at Swansea. You've kind of got a strong first team, a couple of good substitutes, and then it's kind of fringe players. So 80 million might not be enough to do anything at Swansea, but if you like playing possession-based football and you want to try and replicate what they have done in real life so far this season and what they did throughout all of last season under Gary Monk, then Swansea could be a very, very fun series to do. Obviously, Watford came up as second in the Championship last year, automatic promotion. Ighalo and Deeney scoring loads of goals in the Championship. So far, Deeney's not really got underway. Ighalo's got a couple, but Watford are struggling right now. They picked up their first win at the weekend just gone, but they've only got £13.5 million to spend in this window, which isn't that much at all. Neither is the £16 million that you've got at West Brom. However, you do have a world-class, maybe not world-class, but you do have a top-quality striker in Salomon Rondon up top, who they brought in for, was it 12 million? The Venezuelan, £12 million I think they played from, was it Zenit? He was definitely in the Russian league, wasn't he, Salomon Rondon? He was at Malaga, I believe. They moved to the Russian league, and now obviously West Brom have brought him in. So 16 million, I don't know. West Brom were really poor last season. Under Tony Pulis, they've kind of fought back a little bit, but I'm not sure they're good enough on FIFA to be able to stay up in the BPL. Obviously, if you can do better with them, then feel free to do so. Big spenders, West Ham, this year in the BPL. They've brought in so many new signings, and you're still going to have 21, 22 million to spend for yourself as well. So there's definitely a lot of work to be done at West Ham, and definitely a lot of improvements that can be made with the players that have already been brought in, with them moving into the Olympic Stadium. Is it next year or the year after? I can't quite remember. I think it's next season they're going to be at the Olympic Park. So there's probably going to be quite a few West Ham series this year, especially with Payet being in the spotlight more often than not, game in, game out at the minute, with the sort of performances he's putting in. And that is going to bring the Barclays Premier League transfer budget video, I suppose. Little video. It's probably about 10 minutes now because I tend to waffle, but that's going to bring this little video to a close. Let me know in the comment section if you'd like to see more. Drop the video a like if you enjoyed, of course, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll probably put this live around about 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, Friday morning that is. So there's obviously going to be a Chelsea Career Mode episode uploaded at 1 p.m. this afternoon, and there'll be a Wolfsburg episode number 1 tonight at 8 p.m. as well. There was Chelsea episode 1 and My Player episode 1 yesterday, so check the channel page for those if you missed them. Check all of the links in the description to my social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc., and to my Twitch as well, where I'll be streaming Career Mode over the next few days, weeks and months probably. But that's all for now. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you want to see Bundesliga, La Liga, etc., and I'll see you next time.